Welcome to my tier list of all the Splatoon 3 Sizzle Season weapons, ranked on how fun they are. You are welcome to post your thoughts in the comments below on my rankings. However, I will have you note that my opinions are objective and that you are incorrect. So to start, the lowest of the low, the least fun weapons to play are any weapons that would make you feel bad for playing them. And that is going to be any weapon that has 10 missiles. You know, you really just feel like a weight on your soul every time you launch off a set of 10 missiles. It just feels wrong. So like any weapon that makes you feel that, like, you gotta knock it down for that. No, can't be having those. Don't play them. Next up, we have the sleepy tier. And this is just weapons that put you to sleep. And this is where every scoped charger is going to land. I don't get why you would take the most fun part of a charger and remove it so you can go into first person. Just, it's nap time for me. Next up, we have the ZR tier, which is pretty much generally the feeling you get of weapons that you hold down ZR, and that's kind of the entirety of their playstyle. And this is where weapons like the Clash Blaster are going to fit, the Rapids, except the Deco ones, those kits kind of make up for it, the Undercover, and the Vanilla Tent. These are all weapons that kind of brain dead for the most part, feels like. The Tent is probably the most interesting, but it just like isn't good. You hold your shield up for a while and the kit just like can't do anything with it. So next up we have the ZR tier. And this is any weapon that like you kind of just spam ZR a lot and there's not much to it, and that's mostly what it feels like. So the Blob Lobber, for instance, the Ink Brush is at Nouveau, because it has no way of getting in, so you hold ZR and move in, or spam ZR and hope you don't die. Then there's the Pencil, because it just never feels like you can get your shots out fast enough, like you're spamming your shots, and it just doesn't go fast enough. Not great. The kit is also not helping in that department. I'm then going to throw the rest of the blasters in here, not because they're technically just ZR spammy, but because they're not fun. Though both the Deco variants of the Rapid will go a little bit higher. Next tier up, we have Mid. These weapons are okay. First up, we have Hydra, mainly because it's a splatling, so it's cool. It has like a lot of power as the slow charge, but then like just amount of like destruction it can give is crazy. But then again, like since it's so slow and it's hard to move up with, it's just kind of turns out okay. Then we have both of the normal roller variants, the Vanilla and the Crack-On. It's just an okay weapon. Like basically most any other roller is going to be better, except for Big Swig. That'll go in there too. Ink Vac is, if it's specifically in Tricolor Turf War where you can Ink Vac cheese the objective, it would go higher, but generally speaking, it's just okay. I'm also going to put Galugas, because though the dually rolling is cool, they're just feels clunky and slow still, so similar reasons to why the Hydra is a bit lower. Next up is S-Blast. Reason it's here is because while the gun is cool and fun, it's annoying to use because you want to get good with the gun because it's good, but the kit is bad, and so it's kind of just trying to work around the kit even though it's horrible just because the gun's fun, which is why it ultimately winds up just okay. I'm also going to put Sloshing Machine here. It could potentially go into ZR, but it's a little bit more fun than just chucking out a bunch of bubbles and hoping they ricochet and hit someone. And the Fizzy Booyah combo is very powerful, and so you kind of feel amazing when you're just able to destroy teams with it. Though the recent patch definitely just solidly lock that in mid. It's not going any higher. And for the last thing that will go in this tier is just going to be the entirety of the shooter class. Anyways, moving on, we have the next tier up, which is Nifty. These guns are, as I labeled it, nifty. They're kind of fun, kind of cool. They have little quirks about them. They're fun to use. Starting with the normal Ink Brush, just zooming around is really fun. You drop some Killer Whale on someone and just rush up on them. Always a good time, especially in Clam Blitz, where you can just cheese some footballs in and just zooming around. Then I'm going to do the next two Brellas. Reason being is that like dodging the shield with the Vanilla Brella is very cool, and if you're good with it, it's very, very satisfying. However, it's this low because it's not a good weapon, and so no matter how good you are with the shield, which is cool and fun, you're always going to feel like you're getting punished no matter how good you're playing just because of the weapon. Same with Tent, is why it's lower, is because it's slow and again has the issues that the Vanilla Umbrella does, but the kit is actually a lot better than the other Tent, so you can actually do stuff with it, which has its niche and it's fun to use. Next, I'm going to do the Vanilla Slosher and the Vanilla Tri-Slosher. Tri-Slosher would be lower, except for the fact that it has Inkjet, and Inkjet's just ridiculously fun to use, which is why it's in Nifty. But there are better Inkjet weapons, so it is outdone by some of those. The Vanilla Bucket, it's just really fun to hit things over cover. Next up are both Rapid Deco variants. These, while being blasters, have really interesting kits. The Rapid Pro is the one that, like, if it's a very line marker niche kind of weapon, where it's the one weapon right now in the game that you can kind of push line marker and get some really cheeky, like insane range kills with line marker, which is always satisfying to hit. Then Rapid Pro, again, Inkjet weapon, fun. Next up we do the Vanilla Carbon, and while Auto Bomb does not help the kit that much to be super fun, Zipcaster is always going to be up there because it's not the best Zipcaster weapon, but Zipcaster is by far and away the most fun special to use, so it's definitely a nifty weapon to play around with. Next up comes almost the entirety of the dualies lineup. All of them have dodge rolls. They each have their own little niches depending on their kits and like the main weapons, but the dodge rolling gimmick is fun no matter what dualies you're using, so every single one of them is at least going to be kind of fun to try out. Next up we have the Big Swig Express, and while the normal Big Swig is okay, and it definitely has some like fun gimmicky uses for it, the Big Swig Express has a lot of the same gimmicky fun stuff, but it's another one of those fun gimmicky with line marker, and then the special instead of like ink vac, which is again fun occasionally. It has rain, which is actually good, and while it's not like super thrilling, you're not going to be like annoyed that your kit sucks just to like try to use a fun weapon. Then we have Dynamo, which is one of the more fun rollers just because of how like powerful it is to use. But again, it's another one of the weapons that the kit kind of drags it down, and a lot of the times you're feeling like you're fighting against the kit to try to use the weapon. Explo, another interesting one where it's up here for the similar reasons as the Vanilla Slosher, where you get a lot of cheeky kills from around cover, especially if you're really good at getting the lineups over like walls and stuff. So you can definitely get some people mad with that one. Then we have the Paintbrush, which is a very interesting like slower brush style, but using it with the curling bombs and the wave breaker can be like very, very obnoxious, and it's kind of a fun use of diving into a team with a slow weapon, but it can still pull it off because of its kit, so it's pretty fun to use all around. Then we have the Tri-Stringer, one of the new weapon kits in Splatoon 3. It's very, very fun to hit one-shots, but it is kind of hard. The exploding bullets is another really cool thing to get lots of chip damage on people, and you get so many cheeky kills with that, especially when the kit synergizes pretty well with the main weapon, with the Mist and Killer Whale. So if you get good with that, you're definitely going to be having a good time. Then there's the Bamboozler, which again, kit, it's alright, but the main weapon itself is quite fun to use. Being a more aggressive charger, but with very, very fast shots, if it has a better kit, it'd probably be a little bit higher, but definitely fun. Next up we'll have the Zimmy, which both the mini Splatlings are quite fun. The reason this one's a little bit lower is because it's less aggressive, and the reason why I enjoy mini kits is because they're aggressive and you can kind of just run into teams with a Splatling and it's fun. This one's meant to play a little bit slower but catch people out with its Toxic Mist, which is a fun thing, don't get me wrong, but it's not quite as fun as the other kit, which is why it's in Nifty. That's going to do it for that tier. So moving up into the weapons that I consider like these are fun weapons to use, give them a try. Start off with both heavy variants. This is an anchor weapon that can play quite aggressively, especially the Deco kit. You can get into some really nasty positions with it and then get out of them pretty easily by popping Kraken, or again push in using Kraken to get set up in some crazy spots like far into enemy territory, which is always really satisfying. Next up is going to be both Tetra kits. So For the same reason that the dualies are in Nifty, the tetras are up here, but on top of that, they have 2 more dodge rolls for even more chaos, and the light kit actually has Zipcaster, which always gets an extra boost because Zipcaster, again, incredibly fun. Put the vanilla mini up here too, kind of went over it earlier, but it's got a burst bomb stamp, which are both aggressive parts of a kit with an aggressive main weapon, which all around makes it just a really fun push into enemy territory and just go crazy kind of kit. Similar vein as the mini is the Tri Nouveau. This is by far and away like my favorite zombie weapon of just rushing enemy teams and trading while you have your tacticaler up, and so you're always respawning incredibly fast with this super aggressive weapon that can make almost guaranteed trades. Then we have the Bucket Deco, which as far as the line marker goes, it's not the best out of the line marker kind of niche weapons, but it does have Zipcaster, which will always boost it, and so that is another really fun weapon to use. Which is also why the Octobrush goes up here as pretty much like the standard of Zipcaster weapons. It kind of deserves it. Next up goes every single of the unscoped chargers. Nothing feels better than to have a charge hold and then jump up on someone and one-shot them from across the map, and they can't do anything about it. Except for when they push you and get right up in your face and you still one-shot them with a charge. Which, bringing up to the next tier, is why I'm putting some of these weapons up here, specifically one of them. But this is the tier that I'm actually going to rank them in order as ones that I think that are the most fun to the least fun of the most fun weapons in the game. So for the best weapons in Splatoon 3 to play, the ones that are the most fun, it's going to start off with the Vanilla Wiper, because the swords... I think there was an interview where they specifically said like we wanted it to be satisfying to hit the charge slashes, and it is. It's incredibly fun. This weapon is so fast, so aggressive, and just give it a try. Next up is the Nautilus. So it's the Splatling that also has the charge hold mechanic like the chargers, and it's so fun just to charge up, dash in on someone, pop out of the ink with a full Splatling charge, and just mow them down. Absolutely crazy. It also pairs super well with the special of Inkstorm, where you can really easily push up into enemy territory and all of them are taking damage, and you can easily combo with your main weapon to take them out even faster. Next up we have the Carbon Deco. This is the king of sharking. Nothing beats sharking way too far into enemy territory in the single drop of ink and then jumping out and burst bomb comboing some poor unsuspecting fool. It also pairs well with the Trizuka to make up for the lack of range in the base weapon. So altogether, it's very aggressive, great at sharking, but also if it's trying to get bullied by some long-range weapon, it has a piece of its kit to actually deal with that. Forgot to slide Ballpoint in right under Carbon Deco here. Whilst I like to put it higher since I do main this weapon, there are more fun weapons in the game. However, Ballpoint deserves to be up here because there's nothing quite as satisfying as the incredibly deadly range of the close firing mode, paired with the deadly range that it can get in its far range mode. Then on top of that, it has Inkjet, which again, one of the most fun specials in the game, probably second most fun after Zipcaster. But moving on, we have the Stamper. I haven't played it since the nerf to ink efficiency, but if you get the perks to negate that, and it plays about the same, it's very fun since it combos so incredibly well with its burst bomb and main weapon. Then on top of that, it's a Zipcaster weapon, and you can just dash above the enemy team, drop, and then charge slash people, and that is crazy fun. Now for the most fun weapon in all of Splatoon 3, we have the Squiffer. Now, the reason this is up so high is because this is everything I love about chargers, but it's just meant to be trick-shotting all the time. So just up close, fast, brutal, flicking and hitting those shots is so fun. Now, if you're not good with the weapon, it'll drop a lot. And definitely I've had my games where I'd get 0 kills with it. However, when you pop off, it beats every other weapon in the entire game. It is so fun to use. So definitely, if you're at all into chargers, give it a try. It'll make you better at everything else, where you can get a lot more confident in your up-close shots with chargers, regardless if you're using the Squiffer or not. But yeah, this is the entire ranking of every weapon in Splatoon 3, objectively based on how fun they are. Take this into your next weapon choice for what you're wanting to play with, and leave any thoughts you have about where weapons should be changed differently in the comments below. However, know that they will be landing on deaf ears.